stunning looks than swift.
Well, some are calling it the Roelof van der Merwe derby. It's South Africa up against the Netherlands, and we're here on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. I've got Deep Dasgupta with me in studio. He's already giggling. Deep, what's so funny?
You mentioned about Van der Merwe derby. I mean, there are quite a few of them, isn't it? Just not him.
Yeah, there are 8 people of South African origin in the Dutch setup, including the head coach, Ryan Cook.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, a lot of familiar faces, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess something to have a giggle at. Roelof van der Merwe, of course, took that magnificent catch that dumped South Africa out of the T20 World Cup. I've also got Tom Moody with me. Tom, that was a great catch and a great occasion for the Dutch in Adelaide. It's a shorter format. Can they hope to repeat something like that?
Oh, they'd love to think that they could repeat the dose there. Wasn't that a moment in history and such a shock for the cricketing world, really, and a wonderful moment for Netherlands. And you can guarantee that will be still niggling in the South African camp. So you can guarantee tomorrow there may be some payback.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, we've got to get serious now. We've had too many jokes about this game. Let's talk about South Africa. They've started off really strongly.
Yeah.
They tend to sometimes do that at World Cups and then fade away at the end. How do they keep this momentum going?
I have a feeling that this is a different South African side. I really like Bavuma, the leader, the captain. And it seems like they're playing with no baggage. It seems like, obviously, in the previous World Cups, you had more talented, maybe more established players for South Africa. But somehow, I don't know, I get a different vibe from the South African side, and I think they should go on. I think they have got the most informed middle order at this point in time. Obviously, you good players, but they're also in form. Almost all of them are in form, and they're playing really good cricket as well. And last game, Rabada, who can be a little hot and cold, but I think we saw the old Rabada last game as well.
And Deep, I'm certainly getting that feeling as well as someone who's covered South African cricket for a long time. This does feel like a freer side. They're doubtless buoyed by the Springboks, who beat France by just 1 point at the Rugby World Cup. Tom, to the point about the bowling, not just Kagiso Rabada, but Lungi Ngidi really set the tone with that 5-over spell up front against Australia. How do you feel that the seamers are shaping up in the absence of Anrich Nokia?
Yeah, look, that to me was going to be the biggest question for South Africa with the sudden withdrawal of Nokia. We all know what he brings to the table in any format of the game, and to lose someone that bowls 150 plus, a real impact bowler, was a significant blow. But Ngidi, did a brilliant job, and I think at times he's underestimated his ability, his skills. He may not have the high pace, but he's quick enough to challenge both the inside and outside edge of any opening batter in the world. So, I feel South Africa are really right to go all the way through to this tournament. But the one thing that will challenge them is they may not have any baggage now, but the baggage will start to pile on, and that is the baggage of expectation will start to pile on as the tournament continues to unfold and they continue to get their wins under the belt.
They're up in the Himalayas at the moment, and I guess they're a little bit away from where the noise is coming from. But how do you deal with that rising expectation as a team where they've always been spoken about as someone who are the best team never to have won a World Cup?
Well, I think you just got to take it day by day. You don't look too far ahead. You don't really sort of picture yourself being in a tournament as such. You picture yourself living the moment, living the day. As you say, they're in the Himalayas now. Well, let's take that in. Let's take a deep breath of that beautiful fresh air up there and look at the views. Let's take the challenge of playing in those conditions, understand those conditions, understand that the opponent that we're playing against on that given moment, on that given day, and forget about what's happening around you. Forget about the questions that are being asked. Forget about what's being written in the media, talked about on the television or on any particular platform, and just get down to business. And just take it day by day. Don't get too far ahead.
There's some really succinct yogic advice there from Tom Moody. Deep, let's turn to Netherlands. They would, I'm sure, have been quite heartened to see what Afghanistan did against England. They've had 2 tough games. Afghanistan batting first seemed a good blueprint for the so-called smaller teams. Should the Dutch also do that? I
was surprised both the games, in fact, won the toss, they elected to bowl first. I think, I mean, you bat first, and that seems to be the weaker suit as far as I'm concerned. I think they bowled all right in the first game against Pakistan. They were disciplined in the second game as well. But somehow I think, the bat first, forget the scoreboard pressure and everything else, just go out there, bat freely, and then see what happens in the second half. And in Dharamshala, under lights, I think it will do a bit. I don't think there would be a due issue there in Dharamshala under lights. So that shouldn't be a problem for the bowlers. So bat first, best conditions to bat on during the day. And under lights, when the temperature cools down and stuff, you might get to see the ball moving around a bit.
Yeah, and just speaking about the ball moving around, to end off with you, Tom, Logan van Beek, he missed that previous game with a hamstring injury. We don't yet know if he's fit and back in, but if he is fit, you'd say put him back in, wouldn't you?
Oh, without a doubt. He's an important piece to their bowling attack. And I'd agree with Deep. I think that, I think they need to get runs on the board and try to take advantage of conditions that may suit their bowling. Their bowling is not of express pace, but what it has got is some control and some movement. And if the conditions are there, they may be able to just tempt the outside edge and beat the inside of the bat from the odd occasion and suddenly put that or sow that seed of doubt in that South African top order.
Stunning looks, then swift,